Hello fellas. Welcome back to Top 5 Choices. This is Haley from Top 5 Choices, and I hope you all are doing good. In today's video, I am going to do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best cameras for YouTube 2022. After doing proper researches, we came to the conclusion that meets the best in terms of overall. Kindly leave a like if you find this helpful, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications if you haven't. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use it for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. We'll be back with more videos. The Sony ZV-1 is a 20MP compact camera geared towards vlogging. It has a new and novel directional microphone next to the flash hot shoe, and there's a fully articulating touchscreen display. The ZV-1 shoots in 4K up to 30p and Full HD up to 120p and features a 24 to 70mm equivalent f1.8-2.8 lens. Although the Sony ZV-1 is designed specifically with vloggers in mind, it's quite capable as a conventional compact stills camera too. If you're a hybrid shooter who is interested in capturing both video and stills, but doesn't want to carry around two cameras, the ZV-1 has a lot to offer. The ZV-1's ergonomics might seem a little quirky at first, but are fairly intuitive once you start shooting. There's a modest grip on the right-hand side, and it's comfortable to use when shooting in selfie mode or a standard shooting position. When you are shooting with the camera held out at arm's length with the lens facing yourself, you can control the zoom rocker with your thumb and use your index finger to hit record or release the shutter. The ability to easily swap between shooting videos and stills is one of the greatest assets of the ZV-1, made easier if you are using the memory recall functions in the camera. These let you customize banks of settings that include your shooting mode, auto, PSM, video and so on, exposure settings, image or video quality settings, and quickly swap between them. The ZV-1's included fuzzy mic windscreen does an excellent job of cutting down on distracting wind noise when recording video, but unfortunately it also covers up the on-off button on the camera. On the back of the camera you'll find the camera's single control ring, which is the only way to adjust shutter speed and aperture while shooting. It's not that bad if you're using the ZV-1 to capture stills, but can be cumbersome for vloggers since the only adjustments that can be made using the touchscreen are for focus. So if you want to adjust anything other than your AF area, you'll have to flip the camera back around. The ZV-1 offers impressive image quality. While shooting, I tended to keep it set to ISO auto with a range of ISO 125-6400. The ZV-1 generally did a good job regardless of if I was shooting in P, A, S or M mode. White balance worked well, colors were pleasant, and when shooting at lower ISO, the noise was minimal. Moving up to 6400 noise becomes a lot more noticeable, and at ISO 12800 it's very noticeable. The lack of pop-up flash on the ZV-1 makes it difficult to use the camera late at night or in dark settings. These design and ergonomic changes are coupled with other impressive flourishes as you work your way around the body of the camera, from the full-sized HDMI port to the inclusion of a dedicated record button on the top plate. It's hard to find anything to complain about when it comes to the refreshed design of the A7S III. It really does feel like a compromise-free zone for video, but we'd expect nothing less at this price. The A7S III features a 12.1MP resolution spread across a brand new full-frame sensor. Sony's decision to keep the resolution low is single-minded. With competition from Canon climbing up to 45MP and packing 8K video capture, the A7S III resolutely sticks with big pixels and a 4K cap. Its task is simple: to be the best 4K video camera it can be, excelling when it comes to high ISO, low-light capture. Being a Sony camera, the A7S III also delivers an excellent, customizable autofocus system, with 759 phase detection AF points and eye tracking across animals and humans that claims to be 30% faster than on its predecessor. This combines nicely with optical and electronic stabilization, with the latter coming with a small crop factor. There are plenty of other highlights. The A7S III can receive an analog and digital input from its hot shoe mount, capture 16-bit RAW over HDMI when recording at 4K/60p for the first time, and it features a 9.44MP viewfinder, proving that photographers haven't been entirely forgotten about. One of the first things you'll notice about the Sony A7S III is how well it performs in low light. Ramping up the ISO is not a stressful experience. In fact, it's incredibly gratifying, with the camera able to handle high sensitivity mind-bogglingly well. The A7S III's low-light capabilities make sense. Sony has created a brand new 12.1MP sensor which has huge pixels spread across a full-frame, 35mm surface area. On paper, these specs aren't new, but with twice the readout speeds of the A7S II sensor, a back-illuminated structure that's able to ingest more light, and a new Bionz XR processor powering things along, the low light boost isn't a surprise. The GoPro Hero 10 Black looks similar to the Hero 9 Black, but there's only one change that you can see. The Hero 10 Black has a logo on the side and front written in blue, while the last-gen camera has the same with gray. Apart from this, the Hero 10 Black is physically identical to its predecessor. If you are a fan of water sports, you will be happy with the new tweaks that GoPro has made to its front lens. The lens cover now comes with a water-repellent hydrophobic coating, and it really works. We ran the Hero 10 Black and its predecessor under a tap, and the new lens cover was significantly better at repelling water, leaving no droplets. Further, the lens cover is also better at handling scratches and also reduces ghostings. Like with the last gen, the lens is removable on the Hero 10 Black, but removing the lens might cost you a bomb in case something hits the lens directly. In terms of visuals, you get a 1.4-inch front LCD for vloggers, which GoPro says is now a little smoother when showing movement than before, thanks to higher frame rates enabled by its GP2 processor, more on that later. Thanks to the higher frame rate, the screen now shows smoother visuals, and keeping it along with Hero 9 Black will give you a good idea of how much better the front display on the Hero 10 Bulk is. The improvement is far more noticeable on the 2.27-inch rear touchscreen. GoPro says this has improved touch sensitivity, but the real difference comes from the power of the GP2 processor. The Hero 9 Black's sluggish, unresponsive rear screen was one of our biggest criticisms of that model, and while it did improve with a recent firmware fix, it's still nowhere near as snappy as the Hero 10's touchscreen. You also get faster startup times. It's typically ready to go in under 5 seconds, compared to 8 seconds for the Hero 9 Black, and smartphone-like snappiness do make it far more enjoyable to use than last year's model. At the end of the day, this is by far the best screen GoPro has put on its action camera. We did not face any lag or stutter. The Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III is a compact point-and-shoot camera suitable for vlogging. It can capture good quality shots that remain mostly free of noticeable visual noise, so your images shouldn't appear very grainy, and you can also use this camera to live stream directly to YouTube, though we don't currently test this. It has a touch-sensitive screen that can get bright enough that you can still see it under direct sunlight. You can also use it to navigate its menu or flip it upwards to face you when the camera is pointed at you. The Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III is good for vlogging. It has a great screen that you can flip up to face you when the camera is pointed at you. It's also exceptionally portable, and footage taken while walking should remain smooth and stable. It can shoot in 4K and FHD without a crop, however, it does incur a reduction in your field of view when its stabilization feature is set to high. It's also okay at tracking faces, though it struggles to capture clear and sharp footage free of noticeable visual noise while shooting in 4K and FHD. Unfortunately, its battery performance is poor and frequently causes the camera to shut down from overheating, especially when shooting in 4K. This can make it hard to record long videos in 4K, so it may be best to stick to recording body is made of plastic and metal. While its top plate is made of hard plastic, its body is covered by rubberized plastic. Flash mechanism feels somewhat flimsy, screen mechanism feels sturdy, dials and buttons provide good physical feedback, input-output compartment protected by a hard plastic flap, battery and SD card slot covered by a locking hinged door. The Panasonic Lumix DC GH6 is the latest in a line of high-end Micro Four Thirds cameras aimed at video shooters. The GH6 can shoot a vast range of 4K focused video modes, including slow motion from 120 frames per second capture, full sensor open gate/anamorphic shooting, and capture in industry standard formats such as ProRes 422 and 422 HQ. The GH6 is built around a sensor with parallel high and low gain readouts to deliver a dynamic range boost mode that Panasonic says delivers more than 13 stops of dynamic range at higher ISO settings. It becomes the first GH camera to use the full VariCam V-Log profile. The GH6 is based around a completely new sensor, the highest resolution chip we've yet seen in the 4/3 sensor size. Panasonic is being distinctly tight-lipped about the fabrication process, which strongly suggests the camera isn't using the stacked CMOS technology that's underpinned the latest generation of high-end cameras. Although we don't have absolute confirmation, we think it's extremely likely to be a BSI design. The GH6 sensor, which we're told is not made by the company everyone always assumes we use, features a dual output gain design. This is not to be confused with the switchable dual gain sensors we've seen in an increasing majority of modern cameras, but instead is closer to the design used in ARRI and some Canon cinema cameras. The sensor has two parallel output paths, and at high ISO settings, the output from both paths is combined to give both highlight and shadow detail. The GH6 AF system is based around its depth from defocus system that builds up a depth map of the scene by nudging the focus and analyzing any changes, based on an understanding of the out-of-focus rendering of the lens. It's backed up by AI-trained subject recognition, with a choice of human, torso/head/face/eye, face/eye, just looking for faces and eyes, and human/animal, which spreads the net a little wider and recognizes cats and dogs. These options can be set separately for stills and video mode. Fundamentally, though, DFD is better the more often it refreshes, which means it works well in stills, where lots of measurements can be taken between shots, but less well in video, especially at slow frame rates and long exposures, where there's no time to reassess between video frames.